There will be no success for you unless you get lucky.
Oh my God, there's this massive hit, Breaking Bad, and it's this iconic worldwide phenomenon. And what they forget is all the years where you were bad guy number 2.
Oh, no. All of a sudden, one day, Rick Milliken, our casting director, brings in Bryan Cranston, who I'd never heard of.
As Vince Gilligan often says, he says, I just want to see if I can change a guy from Mr. Chips to Scarface.
So long, man.
I was walking out one evening late. The moon was rising high. Headed for the riverside. Around us fuss and fight.
The most critical part of my childhood was when I was 11 years old, and my parents had split up. Primarily, my father
She's ready to order.
left the family.
Hello. Listen, I was thinking maybe we can have a little family time this weekend.
Family reunion this weekend for my dad's birthday.
I didn't see my father for 11 years.
He was an actor himself and then a writer, and left. My family split up.
What's going on? Why can't anybody tell me anything? I want one good reason.
My mother became an alcoholic because she was heartbroken that he left the family.
When you go to those really dark places, are you just kind of making that up? Are you tapping into personal stuff? Do you want to keep a line between those two, that it's not just your life is on display?
The success of an actor is being willing to go into those dark places and display them publicly. You have to have a perseverance, you have to have patience, and there's one more thing that has to happen to have a successful career in the arts. Luck. You have to have luck.
Pero la verdad, hay mucho más detrás de eso. Su historia no empezó como a él le hubiera gustado, pero entonces, ¿qué le sucedió en la infancia para convertirlo en quien es hoy? Sus primeros años de vida son más que un simple comienzo.
They met in an acting class in Hollywood in like 1948. You know, a challenging childhood. My parents broke up. Actually, my father left the family when I was 11. And I didn't see him again until I was 22. My mother was heartbroken, self-medicated, became an alcoholic.
Physically in the home, but emotionally gone. And so there I am, there's a chasm. You have 3 children who are like, wow, what should we do? I was a little sneaky when I was a kid. I was dubbed Sneaky Pete when I was a teenager. I didn't have parental guidance, I had a fractured family.
In fact, in some ways you think, well, does every kid go through this? Is there, you know, that's what you think is happening. Kids around the neighborhood said, hey, we don't see your dad anymore. What's going on? I go, oh, he comes home at night. We play, we have a good time. And, you know.
Wait, son.
No, what you did to Mom, you asshole.
In high school, all the way through school, I remember trying to stay the same as everyone else. I didn't want to stand out. We're wearing that and this is what everybody else is wearing. I don't want to be isolated or ostracized, certainly. I don't want to be embarrassed or have someone point the finger at you. Oh, look at that guy, you know, it's like, oh no.
I don't want anything from you.
My biggest influence was my brother, who was 2 years older than me. So at 12 and 14, he was making just as many mistakes as I was, but that's all I really had to look up to.
I got a quick lesson in house ownership because I thought we owned it, but apparently the bank owned it. And when you stop paying the bank, they get upset. And there was a big red plastered sticky sign on the door saying foreclosure. And my brother and I were sent to live with my grandfather. He stopped us from watching television. We had to work around his farm. One of the things we had to do was to kill chickens, clean them, and get them ready to eat. So my brother went first, and he didn't do a great job, so my grandfather got annoyed at him and chopped the chicken's head off and then hand thrusted the hatchet in my hand and said, "Go." I learned from my brother's mistakes, and I was shaking and trembling, and I grabbed a chicken and I put the chicken down on the wood chopping block, and he looked up at me and I went, "Sorry," and I chopped his head off.
Una infancia difícil puede dejar cicatrices, pero también puede encender un fuego interior. ¿Y esto cómo lo ayudó en su decisión de ir a la universidad? Un camino que lo llevó por senderos que ni él mismo se imaginaba.
There you are at 11, 12, 13 and trying to figure out where you belong and who you are, and yet you don't have the life experience.
I was intending to do something that I didn't even knew I had an aptitude for, and that was police work.
Because my brother joined the LAPD Explorers. I don't know why.
Because he never talked about being a policeman.
They told me they travel a lot, and I go, okay. And
I discovered that I was pretty good at this, and so I started college as what they call an administration of justice major. And I was going to go for 4 years and then enter into the Los Angeles Police Department where I live.
He joins this, and the first year he goes to Hawaii. Second summer he goes to Japan, and I thought, okay. I'm in.
I was going to be a police officer because I didn't have a father in my life from the time I was 11. And so I guess I thought in that young, close to maturity, that it was a manly thing. It was, I think I was looking for a role model without being able to say that consciously.
And you had to go to the LAPD Academy for 8 Saturdays in a row in order to graduate from it to actually be in. And I graduated first in my class out of 111 16-year-olds. Surprising to me that I had an aptitude for police procedure and work, and that I had no idea. I was kind of a crafty little sneaky kid.
Oh, I guess that's my life. I'm going to be a police officer. Okay, that's what I'll do.
Along around the second year, there was a class I took, an acting class.
Because my dad was an actor, and I kind of dabbled in it a little bit.
In there, I find that discover to my great surprise that the girls in acting class were far prettier than the ones in police science. So teacher comes out and kind of says, here, okay, you two, wherever you happen to be standing, you two read this, you two read this, you two read this, you two read this. And it's like, okay. And I look, and I was standing next to, my partner was going to be this young, very, very attractive woman.
My job in the class, my responsibility in that class, as the scene said at the very top, a couple is making out on a park bench.
She looked up at me and she didn't grimace. That's a victory. I went, yes!
To make out with that pretty person that you have a crush on, come on.
So I'm thinking, I'm nervous, and I went, I gotta go for it. I hope she's okay with it, but I am going to kiss her. I am going to kiss her. Sit on the bench. I put my sides down on the ground. I turn to face her. Whoop. She's all over me.
'Cause there is a simple remedy.
Hands, tongue, body, moving, grinding. I am back like this, just squirming. I get dizzy, and then I feel this.
Kissing and rubbing and tapping and kissing and rubbing and tapping, and I'm finally going, what's the tapping? What is that? And I realize, she's saying, get on with it. And
Wow, I thought that went pretty well.
at the break, I go up to her and I say, so that worked out pretty well. And she goes, well, it was the beginning was a little rough. And I go, yeah. But it turned out okay. And I go, yeah, I think we should go out sometime. And she looked at me like a lost puppy and said, oh no.
I was so convinced and so wrong. She didn't want me. She was an actor.
Was acting. And that blew my mind, that I completely believed her. I don't know what happened to Meryl Streep, but
This is fantastic. So I shifted my whole point of view and went in the other direction. At that moment, I thought I was going to be a policeman, and now I'm going to be an actor. The thing that inspired me to want to look more into acting was girls.
Pero las pasiones tienen una forma rara de irrumpir y cambiarlo todo. ¿Por qué dejó un trabajo seguro y se arriesgó a hacer algo totalmente diferente? Una decisión que cambió su vida para siempre.
If I'm really attracted to this sensation of emotion and the empowerment, then I really have to figure out a way to get good at this.
Okay, I have no idea what I want to do. This new world is exciting and vibrant and powerful, and this other thing that I'm apparently good at, but I don't know.
And then it was, it's not exactly what I want to do.
What do? I ran away. I got on a motorcycle, and with my brother, he was in the same kind of position, and we left the state of California for 2 years. We were gone.
I put myself in a position to be a little uncomfortable. I on that trip, on that motorcycle trip across my country for 2 years, getting odd jobs in different places. I was 19 years old. I had $175 in my pocket. That doesn't last that long. But in the 70s, wasn't overburdened by paperwork, so you can get a job anywhere, anytime. You walk into a restaurant that's super busy and go, look, do you want me to bus tables? Yeah, would you? Here's $20. I'll bus for a couple hours. I get fed, and then I'm done.
I never believed it.
We're pulled into a city, and basically we had a rule. If you're in a city and it's the weekday, then you would look for a church or a synagogue or someplace, and you go drive in the back, and usually they have a little square of grass you can throw your sleeping bag down, and they didn't really care. If it was a weekend, you look for a school. Sometimes you can't find anything at night, and we saw this park, and there was a fence, and these beautiful trees, and there's all this grass over there, so we threw our sleeping bags over, climbed the fence, went out into the grass, away from the trees, because we didn't want anything falling on us, went to bed. And the next morning, we were like, it's like, just sun is starting to come up, and we're starting to come awake, and we... like, shh. And I look over, and there's a golf ball about. I'm like, oh. And then there's another golf ball. No. Sorry. Took off for a couple of years on a motorcycle just to get lost, try to find myself.
Well, I ain't got time to change your mind, 'cause the bus is a-humming. Are you staying? Are you coming?
I went to a junior college, a city college, for 2 years. I had no money and no parental support. There was no structure there. I was almost on my own. I had an epiphany when I was 22 years old. It was raining very hard, and I got off this road that I was on, and I went to a picnic area that was abandoned because it was late fall and raining, no one else is there.
Beneath the shadows of this quiet town.
And there's a slab of cement and a picnic table and 4 posts and a roof, and that's it, and me. I had a book of plays, and I stayed there for 6 days.
Your eyes are heavy.
Almost felt like a jail sentence, not a prison sentence. The cascading water off the roof was coming down like they were bars in a jail cell. And of course I would do this with it and and I was reading a play. I was reading Hedda Gabler by the light of this rest stop that I stopped in for the night because it was raining. And I was reading Hedda Gabler, and I finished it, and I was strained like this when I finished it, and what happened?
Can still take flight.
I went from day to night without noticing the transition. How can that happen?
Though you're earthbound.
I missed the transition from day to night?
And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to attempt something that I loved and hopefully become good at, as opposed to doing something I was good at but I didn't love.
Learn to rise above these crowds.
But I didn't know if I could become really good at it.
Stuck in the dust of the life that you found.
So I was in that middle ground. And it was finally at a point when I decided I'm going to go for it.
The oxygen action of preparation, you'll like our 98 cars and trucks better than Honda and Toyotas.
And when I did, there was no backup plan. There was no, well, I'm going to give it 2 years, like you hear some people talk. I'm going to give it 2 years, 3 years, and if I don't make it by then, I'm going to switch and go into accountant. I'll be an accountant. And there was no backup plan for me. I was all in, to use a poker term.
You have to have a love affair relationship with it. It can't be any less than a committed relationship. If you say, I'll date it for a year, if I like it or not, it's not gonna happen.
I got carried away by this book, and that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna try this.
And that was because of the power of story. Telling you a story as they're turning the pages. So we all want to be told a story. And that's the wonderful thing about the human experience, is that never stops.
So that was my criteria. When that epiphany came into my head, I realized, okay, I need to pursue this thing that I love to do called acting and see what happens. It's still my proudest professional achievement. By the age of 25, I worked consistently from that age on, and that was the only thing I've ever done since the age of 25, is to work as an actor.
Los primeros años de lucha, de incertidumbre y de pequeños pasos son la base de toda gran carrera. ¿Y cómo fueron estos primeros años de Bryan como actor antes de la fama? La pasión necesita esfuerzo y práctica.
I never thought I'd like it.
Fortunately, I think very fortunately for me, it happened, but it happened late for me. I didn't get Malcolm in the Middle until I was 40 years old. I didn't get Breaking Bad until I was 50.
And I truly love to talk about your lover.
I was working as an actor since I was 25 years old and never looked back. I never did anything else in my life from 25 until this, to make a living. And so I was perfectly happy, but things shifted and changed. So if celebrity never came to me, I'd still be a very happy person because I've made my living as an actor all my life.
I was very fortunate that I realized that, okay, so I'm not a genius, but I have some life experience now.
How easy it would be.
How do I apply myself? To be able to say honestly that I make my living as an actor, however meager that might have been. If it meant I was sharing a flat with 4 other actors, so be it. If I can make a living as an actor, that's my goal.
'Cause we've agreed.
If Malcolm in the Middle never happened, if Breaking Bad never happened, if all these other great things never happened, because I fell in love with acting. I absolutely fell in love with it and realized, oh, this is a long-term relationship. I'm willing to fight for this relationship when it gets hard. There will always be actors who are better than me. I absolutely know that. And there will always be actors who are not as good as me. I know that too. Shut up. I wasn't getting opportunities, and I felt like a substitute footballer. Like it's like, oh man, I'm here, but I'm not playing. I used to go on an audition to get a job. The casting director, there's a movie, I'm an actor, it's a job interview. You're going there, you perform, and they say yes or no or whatever, and that's it, it's a job interview. Well, as an actor, you go on a lot of job interviews, and it's mostly no. You have to endure all the no to get to the yes. You know, you go in with your CV and it's like, here you go, and next, and you see other people and it's like, oh man, I remember that guy from school, he was so smart and she's so much better than I am. And you start to talk to yourself and it's a problem. And I realized what it is that I'm not going into that room to try to get a job. I'm going into that room to do my job.
How stupid I would be to still have faith.
Is to interpret the text, come up with a compelling character, something that makes sense to me, that resonates, and present it to them.
Never stop believing that one day
Once you do that, your job is done, because I'm an actor and I just finished acting and nothing else has to do with acting. Not calling your agent, not wondering, not worrying. That has nothing to do with your job. And it changed everything.
Iba y venía, en audición tras audición tras audición, hasta que en una de esas consiguió el papel. Y no solo eso, sino también a su esposa.
We met doing a show called Airwolf. TV show that was a terrible show. It was about a helicopter that saves people, and it's just, it was silly.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this
Yes,
show?
I remember Airwolf.
Very,
yes.
very bad show, but with a great thumping theme song. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I got excited about the show, and then slowly, as the show rolled out, it's like, my wife was the victim of the week, and I was the bad guy of the week, and I held her, literally held her captive by gunpoint.
Is so much stranger that you met your wife, your first introduction to her was you holding her hostage with a fake gun.
Well, it's also very sexy, I think, though. It's like, she thought I was very dangerous.
I'm happy by myself, not a care in the world.
Flirt with each other without like, oh, hey. So we did, we flirted, we had a good time.
Up in the sky, all but laughing up.
So we didn't have the need to make a move. We were able to play and flirt, and yet to not have anything go any further than that. So we were able to really be ourselves and say, God, she's really pretty and funny.
Life was cold and lonely.
But nothing happened. And then a year later, we were in the same improv comedy class. We met one day as actors would. We would gather and say, hey, how are you? Good to see you. She told me she was gonna come to Oxford, study one summer, the British American Academy of Dramatic Arts. So I said, I am actually, and I was planning to hitchhike through Great Britain up into Scotland and just see what's going on, you know? So I said, can I call you and maybe stop by in Oxford? And she said, yes. So about every 3-4 days, wherever I was, I would go to a phone box and I would take my, no cell service. This is 1987. And I'm dropping coins in the box. I called her and we made a date to meet here in Oxford.
Last night I cried, I thought I'd die without you.
I got some sandwiches and a bottle of wine, and I rented a punt. I was gonna take her punting on the Thames. And it was a beautiful sunny day. Everybody was sitting on the bridge with a pint, and they were having a great time. I took the punt out, and the guy said, she's sitting in the front, very pretty, and just out. I wanted to impress her, so you want to take it? Yeah, sure, I know what to do, yes. I know what to do, okay, yep, okay. And I pushed away, and the punt started, it's like, oh.
Keats, have you heard this one?
Okay, so what then? And I thought, this is wrong. I know it's wrong, but I don't know the remedy.
Bad luck, bad day, what should I do?
I'm pulling it out of the muck, and the water is cascading in the mud, and it's all down my arm. And I'm looking at her, and I would do it when she's like looking around, and I'm pulling this out, and I put it on this side. And I push on this side, and now we go this way. And I thought, okay, something's really wrong here. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and I'm gonna be caught and humiliated very soon. And on the bridge, there was a guy who was trying to be kind, and he knew for some reason, I don't think it was obvious, but he knew it was obvious that I was American. And he said, hey, Yank, use it as a raw. And I looked up and I said, what? Use it as a raw. And I said, use it as a raw. I don't know what it means. Use it as a raw. Use it as a rudder. Oh, thank you. So at that point on, I realized push once and just use it as a rudder.
Beach Boy, I'm completely legit.
But I had all this mud and water on me, but she didn't seem to care. So and here we are. That was 35 years ago.
Pero hubo un papel que lo cambió todo. Breaking Bad. No solo fue un trabajo más, sino una conexión profunda con un personaje complejo. ¿Y cómo consiguió esto? Bueno, este es el trabajo de un actor.
So acting is a sense of studying human behavior and then being able to replicate it honestly, either on stage or in film. Actors respond to good writing. In fact, some of the hardest work that I've ever had to do is on poorly written material, because you're trying to find the honest moments in that. You're trying to find something that you can connect to the character. And when it's not there, it's so hard. It all starts, any performance art starts with the written word. The writers are by far the most important element in any performance art. Identify the well-written word, and I attach myself to that project. That once I read Vince Gilligan's pilot script, I started daydreaming about the character. I started doing the work of an actor.
I'm a very boring, law-abiding guy. That would be an interesting character to write about. Someone like us, for whatever reason, actually did such a thing, actually decided to cook meth. Didn't have a name for him yet, but led to that character who would eventually be known as
Walter White was going to change from a good, honest guy to becoming a killer.
And that's very rare, having that kind of, for the writers in the audience. I don't know how it is for you folks, but writing is hard work, and you got to really keep your pencil to the grindstone, so to speak. But every now and then when that inspiration hits, that's a wonderful thing. So all of this long-winded way of saying that we're looking for a guy to play this role, essentially a two-hander. Our star and a guy in a car for 45 minutes. And we need a really good actor.
What he looks like, how he walks, how he holds himself, those things. And I came into my meeting with Vince Gilligan and I told him.
A vision of the sun that's low.
And luckily, we're here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of really good actors in Los Angeles. So we're auditioning, folks.
No, maybe, no, yes, no.
We never saw an actor who could pull that off until, and I was getting nervous because the day was fast approaching. We needed to start shooting. And all of a sudden, one day, Rick Milliken, our casting director, brings in Bryan Cranston, who I'd never heard of.
I said he should be overweight, he should be soft and pudgy.
Every actor who came in was kind of lacking something, and it took me a while to figure out, me and the other producers a while to figure out what it was, and it was like, you gotta like this guy, you gotta sympathize with this, not like him, you don't need to like him. And Bryan comes in and he just nails it.
He should have no color to his hair, to his cheeks, to his face. He should wear clothes kind of like what I'm wearing now.
He's like, as soon as he's done, as soon as he walks out, we're shaking his hand, and I'd looked at the other guys and said, OTW, which off to wardrobe. It's what you say when you essentially, like, that was the guy, let's stop looking now.
What about a mustache that looks at what I called an impotent mustache, where you could see the skin through the mustache to where someone else might look at your mustache and go, why bother?
He was fantastic. He had everything we needed. He was scary. He was a fantastic dramatic actor, and yet he had some humanity that kind of came through, leaked out of his pores or came out of his eyes. I don't know what it was.
It's a man who gave up. That's basically what you want to convey, what I thought Walter White should convey. The more that I can give him those things and plant seeds, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, inside him, that he would only see me. In other words, like a dog marking its territory, I was lifting my leg on Vince Gilligan, and hopefully the scent of Bryan Cranston was all he was going to smell. A little bit crude in the way I put that.
El éxito, la fama, cosas que la mayoría de nosotros idealizamos. Pero, ¿Qué hay de verdad detrás de todo eso? Una mirada a la filosofía de Bryan Cranston.
But when you get a script, and there's a lot of really, really talented writers, Vince Gilligan being one of them, and he wrote this beautiful 1-hour drama that I just fell in love with. You never want to see a show get the reaction like Breaking Bad. Is that still on the air?
Yeah.
You want people to say, I missed that show. And we did 6 seasons, 62 episodes all together. And I think they're concentrated and tightly woven and brilliantly written.
When people say, oh, no, I don't want to watch that drug show, and I don't want to watch anything that promotes drug abuse and drug manufacturing, it's like, I don't think you understand the show. But I can see why you might think that, because that's like the shiny object. But we know what it is conditional. It's what this man's choices that he made under duress. I found a wallet down here and I picked it up and there was money in it. And I saw that and no one else saw me pick it up. And there was also a name of the person who owns the wallet. I'm returning the wallet. Why? I don't need money because it's the right thing to do. But if I was under pressure, if I can't pay my rent, that temptation is ever present. That's where the emotional, moral dilemma takes place. And that's what he was trying to do, Vince Gilligan, with Breaking Bad.
You just try and get a good job and don't feel entitled. And what else allows you to be at peace with the fact that you're so well known for one of the great characters of all time?
That you were so damn lucky to get it. Well, I think that in order to have a successful career in this business, in the entertainment business, whether you're writing, directing, acting, or producing, or whatever the case may be, there are components that are necessary for that to come about. One is talent. You really do. You have to work hard and get educated and learn your craft and learn your business. Aside from that is personal development, patience. And perseverance. But there's also a component that is necessary that's kind of the wild card, and that's luck.
I don't know of anyone who's successful in the arts who became that way without it. It's a component that you can't manufacture. You can't will it to come to you. There's never going to be, we need more actors in the world. There's plenty of actors. There's plenty of writers and directors and people who want to be in the arts and musicians and painters and dancers.
You have to have a healthy dose of luck to become successful. That's just the way it is. Anybody who's successful, and they will be able to point to several moments in their lives when they got lucky. Does that mean you don't work? Of course not. The luck is only the opportunity meets preparation. And when the door is open, you have to be able to deliver. You just got to keep knocking on the door. You've got to have a lucky break. I've had several. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. Just try to live a good life. I always tell young actors too, it's a tough one. Most of you are not going to make it as a living, as a profession. But if you feel the burning desire in whatever your chosen profession is, if you feel that burning desire, you must try. You must. And so my question is, what is your story? And all you writers or musicians out there or artists, what is your story? I want to know your story because I've learned a hell of a lot more listening than I have talking. So tonight I'm a talker, but I like to listen. I want to hear your story. I want to see things that teach me about the world and about cultures that I'm not familiar with. And the world does want to know your story. So hopefully you're developing it, you're thinking about it, you're doing it. And the hardest part is doing it. Everyone's got a million ideas. The hardest part is actually doing it. Because the only true defeat is not attempting. Making mistakes, being bad at something, discovering things.
Hace años perdí mi casa, pero sabes, no me
That's it. I wrote a book a few years ago. I got an offer to do a book, and I thought, wow, I've never written a book. I have no idea if I'm any good at it. Okay.
Hoy la vida me ha cambiado, soy bien firme y derecho, la lealtad es mi poder.
Telling a story in that format, and so that's, you know, I mean, keep trying doing something, you know, you're not familiar with. I hope that there are more happy ending stories. We'll see. But thank you very much. I appreciate being here, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Y yo pregunto, ¿cuál es la mayor enseñanza que te dejó de su vida?